I'm so excited. This is going to be my first recorded podcast since I first started my podcast. And just bear with me. Let me get all this set up and I can start recording and we can go live. Welcome back, everyone. This is A Girl Talks. I'm your host, Jasenia. And in this episode, I'm getting personal, deep, as if I don't ever, but this specifically is focusing on being almost 40, childless, and never been married. I think a lot of people have a lot of opinions here. I think I'm gonna title this episode Embracing Love. We'll see. But yeah, I really want to dive into this topic as it's very close to not just my heart, but many women out there who are dating in their late 30s and who are childless and never been married. So I want you to picture this. You're approaching your 40, you're successful, and success is whatever you believe it to be. Forget what everyone else thinks or says, but you're successful. You're surrounded by people that love you, friends, family, and you've got this zest for life that's undeniable and undescribable. But when it comes to love and its journey, well, it's been interesting. Let's just say, right? So you're with me? Okay. As we navigate through the realms of modern dating, it's pretty overwhelming, especially when society has its idea and its norms and expectations, and they seem to be at odds with where you are in life. You're kind of not there. I remember growing up, it was such a thing. I remember being told by my mother, if you don't end this relationship, which was a 7-year on and off relationship, you're getting older, no one's gonna want you. I think I was 23 at the time, 22. And I felt it. I was like, whoa, I have to end this relationship because I am getting older and no one's gonna want me. And if you've been hearing this as a young woman into your adulthood, then you kind of believe this to be true. And in some ways, it's in the foreshadow of your mind where you are trying to not only please your family, but society and what they decide for it to be. It's not easy when you're navigating through your love life and dating life, when you're chasing other people's ideas of what happiness is and what happiness means for you. So now I want to address the elephant in the room. Society pressures women especially to have children by a certain age. It's like there's this inevitable, invisible timer that's clicking away, and if you don't use it, it's self-destructive and it's gonna just, explode. Reminding us that time is running out. But here's the thing. Our worth isn't defined by our ability to conceive or not to conceive, whether it's by choice or circumstance. Being childless doesn't diminish your capability to love or be loved. It's about embracing the journey as it unfolds rather than adhering to the pressures of society. Let you think about this. There are some people, men and women, that are born already when you know that they're not going to be able to conceive and have children and reproduce. Does that make them less of a woman? Does that make them less of a man? Does that make them less worthy of being loved or desired? No. There are some people in the world that are capable of having children but don't want to. And it's their prerogative, correct? I feel like it's more so what we choose and feel that is right for us. I myself would love to have a child. I love kids. I love animals. They're drawn to me. But that's neither here nor there. I'm not going to be selfish and, be reckless and, get pregnant by mistake, by accident, on purpose. I would never drag someone on that journey if they weren't ready. I would never drag somebody if they didn't want to. That's why it's a very important conversation to have. Now, that being said, it's neither make or break for me. I did get my eggs frozen. I had to do it twice. I'm very happy knowing that the best of my best eggs that I had at 36 and 37 are stored away. I pay for them every year. But that outside noise is no longer loud, because in my mind, the battle that I do battle, that I've been battling, is off my back. I'm no longer stressed about, well, what if I do want to have kids and it's too late? Well, it's not too late. My eggs are frozen. When I last checked, I'm more than capable and healthy to have a baby. But of course, again, I could be selfish, but that's so wrong. Why would I do that to my child? Why would I do that to the father of my child? I want my child to be made out of love, and that's me. Now, onto the dating scene itself. As we get older, our priorities definitely shift, right? And what we're looking for in a partner evolves too, as we do. I mean, one would hope. The days of settling for anything less than extraordinary, is no longer a thing. I have loved and loved and loved and loved and given and given and given and put into things and have been drained, only to, be mishandled, to be abused, to be mistreated, to be unappreciated. And those days are over. I go on dates, and, lucky the guy if it's a second date, but sometimes it doesn't go past the third or fourth. It's not that I'm fearful or running away. It's like, I know now. I know. It's almost an interviewing process, right? You don't just hire the first person you see just because it looks great and pretty on paper or in front of you. You have to continue to put your eggs elsewhere and figure it out. Where before, I put my eggs in one basket, and I would always I love love, so I would just settle for whoever wanted to love me back. And I find myself holding back and being careful and being more cautious now. But sometimes, that also means we're going through like this massive sea of mismatches, right? These awkward first dates, these interesting and scary ones too. Oh my God, the dating pool is so bad. You have married men that are unhappy with their marriage, pretending to be single on apps, and then you find out that they're married, and it's, thank God, it was one or only 2 dates. Your intuition definitely does, it's like spidey senses. And it's sad, because a lot of couples that are together who got married in their 20s or just got married because, the woman got pregnant, those couples are the ones that are not happy, including the wife and the husband, not just the husband, not just the wife. Because of the pressures of society, sometimes they're forced to just dive into that. So I would much rather be happy alone and go on these interviews and carefully pick who I'm going to choose to live the remaining of my years on this earth. But fear not, my dear listeners. Amidst the swiping and left, right, and all the small talk, there can be genuine connection, and there is genuine connection. You need to believe that there has to be, that's waiting for you to be discovered. It's all about being open to new experiences and embracing the beauty of the unexpected. Maybe love will find you in the most unlikely of places. They say that if love finds you when you don't look. And this is how you should be, right? At the gym, at the restaurant with your girls, at the grocery store, not when you're driving. It can appear and find you in the most unlikely of places. And you gotta believe that, the chances of you encountering someone at your favorite cafe or, serendipitously, bumping into someone at a friends or family gathering. It can happen, and it's not me romanticizing it. It's me being honest. What you believe is yours. It's yours. There's a calmness to it. I was talking about this with a friend, that when you really believe that what's for you is for you, you will attract it, and you find peace in that. And by finding peace in that, you're able to navigate the rest of your life at ease, and nothing can take away that from you. Not family pressure, not seeing your friends having their third baby or third marriage, but you realize that you know it to be true, and when you do and you believe in it, a lot of good things come. I choose to apply that method of thought in many of things. When I was younger, I used to get very upset when things didn't happen because of timing, or because I wasn't around and I was somewhere else out of state, or because I didn't read that email soon enough. And I read a book called The Power of the Now, and it really did change my life a lot. I realized that you cannot control anything but you, and the only way to move forward is by living in the now. You can't look too far out, but you can't also stay stuck backwards. You can't look far back and be stuck there, but you also can't carelessly and aimlessly move forward. Being present is so important in relationship with self, in relationship with family, in relationship with friends, work, romantic, non-romantic, everything that falls in between. So if you ever get a chance to check it out, definitely check out Power of the Now. I sometimes forget that I am going to be 40. I don't feel 40, and I don't know exactly what that really means. I know that when I was in my earlier 20s, I never even thought far back on life on how it would be 40. But you do meet people. The older you get, you meet older people, and you see that they're not in shape, they're not in good health. They don't look 40, they might look 50. And for me, looks aren't everything, but I do take care of myself, and I believe that it shines from within out. I also think God gives me a few repeats. He's like my child. You've been through so much, so we're gonna have to hook you up. We're gonna have to hook you up. Which brings me to age. Age is nothing but a number, but it is an experience sometimes. Yes, there are younger individuals who've had to grow up faster and much sooner than the average. I know that for me, I was definitely not your typical teenager, 20-year-old, some even the early 30s. Like I had mentioned, I had always felt the pressure of getting married, starting a family at a real early age. So my focus was in finding a husband and being a wife and being a mother. It brought and led to some really tragic scenarios in my life. I did end that 7-year relationship and immediately jumped into an abusive one. Obviously, he didn't hold a sign saying I'm a woman beater. So let's not get that idea, because some people will ask, well, why did you fall in love with someone that's abusive? I didn't fall in love with someone that was abusive. I fell in love with the facade that they fed me. They led me to believe in something that they weren't. And that's tricky because that is out of our control. And I remember when I dated after him, one of the first things I have said and continue to say is, do not mess with my perception of reality. And what does that mean? That means do not have me believe in a lie. Do not make me think that we are good if we're not. If there's a problem in the relationship, I'm not a mind reader, I'm not psychic, I need you to communicate. Because if I think everything's good and dandy, I'm going to think that things are good and dandy. So communication is so key. And not just in a relationship, but in, at work, and friendships, and in society. And people go to war with the lack of proper navigating through their emotions and not properly communicating, where learning to understand that there are differences that exist and respecting those differences are key. You know, I now, as I've experienced 3 relationships since my abusive one, it's pretty tragic because the one that I met after that, it throws me off sometimes too, and you don't hear me talk about it much because y'all probably only think of the 2. And there was another one before the last 2. That was tragic because they fell into something that was far out of their control, and it was something that I didn't know they were struggling with. And so, lucky for me, I think God is always on my side in so many ways because he protects me from a lot of the things that I have no control of, and also need to allow the process. And to say and nip that real quick, the relationship didn't work, and then came the other 2. You know, they were younger, and I really find that age is important, because not everyone grew up as fast as me. Not everyone understood responsibilities as early as me. Not everyone, you know, thought out a little bit further into the future than me. You know, with my last, I feel like I came in and I just wanted them to catch up. And I think by doing so, it might have even pushed them away from me. You know, they met this fun, bubbly person who was carefree and who was secure of herself. But, you know, when you cheat, lie, hide things, and, you know, don't respect your relationship, it will make even the most secure woman feel insecure. And that's what happened to me. I felt really upset because all the hard work that I had put in to healing and growing was pretty much just brought to shambles, and I had to pick myself back up from the ground. And it was hard doing so while still in that relationship, not giving up on it or him, because that's the type of love that I have. When I love full-heartedly. So being 39, almost 40, and people scrutinizing that, thinking there must be something wrong with her, she must have done something to deserve it, there's got to be a huge issue, you know, thinking that the woman's always the problem. With growth comes accountability, and I will say that, yeah, I went from being the secure, careless, spontaneous, loving, bubbly person to very anxious, sometimes bordering back into depression, very insecure, and very unsure of not just myself but of them, and whether it was true or whether it was authentic or whether there was intention that would lead to a brighter and better future. You know, people don't change like that unless there's something traumatic that happens, and there was something traumatic that happened. And it's harder when you have lived a life and you're like, wow, you know, I see the repeated patterns, and what about all this can I take accountability on? Well, I saw the red flag sooner, but I didn't do anything about it. I thought that by threatening to break up, that they would wake up. And I thought that by having them move out, they would wake up, and it just didn't work out that way. I think what was supposed to happen, it didn't. What was supposed to happen was a breakup the first time. What was supposed to happen was the breakup, asking them to leave. As much as it would have pained me and hurt, I did have people in my ear, people that knew him, people that grew up with me, my own family, that made me just take a few steps back, take a few breathers, and decide that, like, is it worth holding on and fighting for? And in the end, I said yeah, because I'm at this age in life where All I want is just that one partner for life. And I want that to be my best friend. I want that to be my colleague. I want that to be, my life partner. I want that to be my lover. But I think that our age gap, which was 4.5, maybe 5 years of a difference, as little as that sounds, was massive because they were really just finally beginning to grow up. And that's what I mean by age is just a number, but age is also a huge important number, because the lack of experience or the having experience is important, and knowing who you are going to jump into things with is important too, and never to bash them, only to highlight that when you do date someone younger, you need to make sure that they're at your level, and ready. And if they're not, and they're, let's say, here, and you're way above them, it's unfair to wait for them to catch up, because there is this unnecessary pressure on them, and it's unfair for you to dim yourself, little yourself, and settle yourself when there's more for you to grow and improve. When there's that large gap of experience, of readiness, of willingness, it's important to just move. And that is actually the same thing that I apply when I go out on dates, on my first dates. I see where they are in life. And if they're not equal to me or above me, I cannot go on a second date. They could be probably the most amazing guy on the planet. But I've learned that when a man and the woman are not happy with themselves, it doesn't matter if you're the whole package. You could be a whole wife and they could just care less about it. It is your job to make sure that when you hire someone for the job, you're hiring someone that's has all the accolades needed, the experience, and ready to go hard, just like you would hire anybody that works for you, right? In a relationship, it takes work and partnership, it takes collaboration, it takes two. I find that many people have settled in relationships because they had to get married by a certain age, because they had to start a family by a certain age, because they had to appease their family and society at a certain age, who are not happy with the current self of the dynamic of the relationship, and they don't grow, and they just grow resentful, or they grow so far apart that it's obvious, but for the sake of their children and family, not realizing that their children are hurting from this, it's not beneficial to none. So it's important to not forget yourself, and how important it is to love yourself along this journey. You got to embrace all of your quirks and celebrate all of your achievements, and nurture your own happiness as the foundation to fulfill a relationship. And if you're divorced, and if you have children, or if you're single because your partner passed, it's never too late to find love. That's the one thing that I want to say, that as I approach 40 this year in September, there's a lot of solace in it when you know that there is more than enough time to find that person. And I do believe that finding your partner is a choice, but making the best choice is important. This is where accountability to self comes. I don't believe in pointing the finger. I don't believe in blaming others. I don't believe in, people being bad unless they're purposely, maliciously hurting you, and don't care about you, because with good people, there are bad people. But like my past, I don't believe any of them to be bad. Maybe the last one a little fucked up, but not bad. I think that their intentions were originally to do good. I think what went wrong was prolonging the relationship when they stopped loving me. That's where I feel like it is definitely a wrong thing to do, because it goes back to what I first say when I meet people, and now it goes a little bit further as per experience. Instead of just saying, do not play with my perception of reality, I really just say, mask off. Just take the mask off. You know, and then I also proceed with, wouldn't you want someone to fall in love with you for who you are rather than this portrait of something that you're not? And once I say that, I feel like it does click, and I feel like people do then drop their guard and become more of themselves as opposed to their representative. Because we all know the representative is always trying to, you know, make those sales and close those deals. But sometimes we know those sales shouldn't have happened. And those deals shouldn't have been closed. But after all of it, you know, after all the heartbreak and the pressure and the growing up and the development, I have to say that I am blessed to be alive, to be able to have a platform where I can, you know, help other people feel that they're not alone, because you're not alone. You know, when I was a kid, I didn't have access to these things. I think people my age can relate to that. We didn't have, you know, forums and groups and chats and, you know, Google, where we can find things and have it accessible to our ears and our palms and our eyes. So it's great to be able to be amongst some of the creators out there that have more substance and more knowledge and more light to put into the world. I am very happy after all. Yes, the dating is almost a little difficult during the winter time for me, because I'm not motivated to look cute for anybody other than my girls. When my girls are like, we're gonna do brunch, I'm like, okay, let's do it. But when like my messages are, you know, ding 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 ding, like, you know, wanna go out to dinner, I'm like, no. Also, as I get older as a woman, I realize I cannot eat past a certain time. I was talking about this with somebody, a gentleman, and he was like, well, you're gonna have to make sacrifices. I'm like, well, no. I feel like, why do people have to just go out to eat? Why can't they do other things? Maybe like take a walk in the park, go to the beach. Now I know that can't happen in New Jersey during the winter time, but there are indoor activities that can happen. Let's go watch a movie. Let's go to a cafe. Let's listen to a jazz band. Let's go to a comedy show. Like, there are other things that can be done other than, hey, do you want to eat at 9 p.m.? No, I don't. Like, I already have terrible GI system, gastrointestinal system as a Virgo, because of the amount of stress load that I've had in my life that I'm now decompressing, and I'm like more focused on. This is why, like, I don't really care about what society has to say, because a lot of things that society has to say that I was trying to be a part of caused so much stress that it made me unhealthy. And I'm my prerogative, and I'm going to take care of myself, and I'm not going to, you know, agitate or, you know, make things worse just to make other people happy. I got to make sure my GI is happy and that I'm good. You want to do 6 o'clock, 7, the latest? Okay, cool. But no. But to anyone that's teetering close to 40, or are 40, who are childless, and they're a woman like myself, I just want to say, let's rewrite the narrative. Let's show society the importance of what this message of this podcast episode is about. It's about embracing ourselves, and it's about not settling, and it's about, you know, attracting what it is we actually want and need. Because sometimes what we want, you know, we might want, you know, a 6-foot guy with a 6-pack and 6 inches, but that's not what we may need. I mean, the older I get, I'm gonna tell you, it's never been a thing. It's never been a thing for me. I never cared about the 6 figures. All I've ever wanted was just love me, just love me. But to say and share that that's not enough. Love is not enough, and I've learned that the hard ways. You do need to be able to be with the man that can provide, protect, and profess. You need to be with the man who's going to feel adequate and a place in your life that they have in your life. Otherwise, a man will be unhappy, no matter how amazing of a woman you are, no matter how great the sex may be, no matter how much love you got to give. There has to be a balance of that. and there has to be a nice dance between give and take. It's a beautiful dance, this dance of love. What I ask for anyone who is approaching 40, it's to embrace our independence, to celebrate our uniqueness, and approach dating with an open heart, with an unwavering sense of self-worth. Forget what everybody else has to say or think about you, because the most beautiful love stories often unfold when we least expect it, and we give zero craps about what other people are saying. I want to thank you so much for tuning into this. I want to remind you that your journey is valid, that you are worth undeniable love, that you are deserving of peace and respect, and that the love you seek is already within you. Don't forget that. Until next time, this was Embracing Love, and I'm your host, Jasenia, on your favorite podcast, A Girl Talks.